answer your question, I have to be honest, the selection of the trends is quite a challenging task, but things are evolving constantly, but a few items in my perspective will apply to any business around the world. So here is my 3 top selection that I wanted to present today. First of all, I think content diversity will be one of the main trends this year. Why? Because even if we have plenty of content, it's not always aligned with the buyer journey. And that's what we need to do this year. We need to embrace the inbound methodology, and Alex and Daniel know exactly what I'm talking about. We need to create content and align everything with, each stage of the conversion process. Is someone looking for information? Okay, let's give them some information. Is someone ready to buy? Okay, then let's give them even more information. But everything should be tailored, as mentioned before. At the same time, we should also kind of put our teams in front of the customers. Similar to what I'm doing today, I'm a member of the team, not an owner. I'm coming in front of you and discussing about this, and I'm supporting NNC because that's how things should work. This is what customers should see from your side as well. Why? Because they are interacting on a daily basis with human beings, not with an entity, with a fictional entity or a list of values or missions and so on. They are people, not just a very static organization. So they want to hear from them and also from the business, and the messages should be aligned and the content should be humanized. So let's try to do that this year, a bit more content, a bit more aligned, and empower your team to take the lead and send this information. And not on the same content, on the same topic about the content, I think we should take even more into consideration the data that the customers and the prospects are giving us through analytics, through search engines, and so on. We should pay closer attention and analyze everything that they are doing, at least what we can see, at least what's not private, so we can create what they actually need. Okay.
Okay, so let's see, Alex, I know HubSpot has a lot of, reports and trends shared with us, the partners, but also with the customers. What is HubSpot's take on the top B2B marketing trends and predictions for this year? And specifically, how do you think marketing automation will help companies use these trends to achieve their goals?
Yeah, it's a great question. HubSpot's always trying to make inferences and predictions based on the conversations that we're having with our customers and prospects. And so we gather a lot of data on this. And I think a couple things come to mind. One is like the things that we're going to continue to double down on, right? Like, so although 2022 was a very difficult year, some things were working well. So there are things we'll continue to do. And I would say a lot of it is based on what we see buyers tell us about how they prefer to buy, right? So continuing to double down on SEO, and to Monica's point about like really thinking about content strategically, continuing to optimize for mobile, because we thought it couldn't get any more, but people continue to use their cell phones for really important day-to-day things. On the automation front, I think coming off of Monica's point about data integrity, I think that continues to be a really important thing. I think for a long time, I used to think it was too nerdy of a thing that I cared so much about data integrity, but it really is becoming table stakes for a lot of companies. Your marketing is only as good as your data. So if you expect to be able to be personalized and targeted and succinct and speak to your audience in the way that they want to be spoken to, you can really only do that if you have data that helps you understand who they are, where they are, and what they want. So as far as automation is concerned, again, I think like even if you're focusing on basic best practices and principles around follow-up and nurture and keeping, like just marketing email as a channel active, we're really only as good as the data we have in place. So I think of it sort of in two ways. It's the automation that we're using to reach out and connect with those customers, but also the automation that we're using to standardize and cleanse and format and keep our data clean. So there's a lot that's happening that's external that is powered by and enabled by what's happening internal as well. So sort of from like an operational perspective,
Jesus.
what can we do to keep our data clean and operational? So there's a lot of things we could talk about, but from an automation perspective, I think it really kind of comes back to data, which allows you to be personalized and more human-centric.
Yeah, very good point, Alex. And luckily, we are now in a moment in the digital marketing evolution where many tools allow us to have a very personalized and also to have a very data-driven business decision. So a lot of intelligence being put into marketing tools as well. So going back to you, Monica, what other trends do you see coming up for this year?
Hi, I saw Alex mentioning something about SEO, and it's definitely related to the first trend that I extracted. This year, a lot of of us will focus on improving the quality of SEO. Why? Because it's basically a way to come in front of the potential customers and give them the information they need. According to the searches and the reports, this is what you see here on the screen, 14.6%. This is the close rate for the leads that are coming from SEO, organic traffic, content that you are generating to answer to questions from real life. What people are asking on Google, on Bing, or other search engines, this is what you're giving them. So they are coming to you because you are providing the valuable information they need. So yes, improving the SEO quality is a big trend this year, and a lot of companies don't focus on that yet. And again, a lot of business owners regret not starting earlier the investment in this area of marketing, and that's because it doesn't give you results immediately. It's a long-term process. You need to invest, you need to optimize, you need to create content and pay attention to all the algorithm changes that are happening and so on. But on the long run, this is what will drive your business organically without you having to pay for ads and so on. So let's start focusing on SEO. Let's create the content, as I mentioned before, and optimize it for search engines. Also, everyone knows that there's a very big trend now with AI tools that create content and generate content automatically. I would suggest to all of you to not rely that much on them, and that's because they are basically giving you the information already existing on the internet, on Google. So if you just take that content and place it on your website, it's going to be identified as duplicate. So it's not good for SEO. Of course, we can use that to identify quickly some pieces of information, but everything needs to be rephrased. We need to double check the information and the sources to make sure that everything is completely accurate. The last thing that I would say here is for you to try to experiment with other SEO techniques. We have, of course, the main SEO part, which is keyword optimization, but try with also rich snippets optimization, schema optimizations. These are a few, let's say, are technical pieces of SEO, but these are extremely important and can give you a lot of results.
Mm-hmm. Very good advice, Monica. I know there's a lot of talking around AI and ChatGPT and how you can leverage this into your day-to-day marketing activity. Like Monica said, I thought I found the best approach to it is, don't rely entirely on it, but use it as a source for researching, and also make sure you double check all the information you get from it. Okay, and what would be the third, Monica?
The third is related to the technology. Alex also mentioned a few items, about marketing automation. The idea here is, during the pandemics and last year as well, after things got a bit better, companies invested a lot in tools, and they started to increase their technology stack. However, marketers still don't have what they need to do their job as they would like to do, and that's because not all of these platforms are integrated. That's why the integration between tools is extremely important this year. We are, of course, facing some times that are not, that kind with us. So we definitely need to have the technology we need to do our work better, faster, with fewer resources, and so on. So basically, my advice here would be to analyze everything you have now, make sure that it's not overly complicated for the team. And if it is, consider changing it or consider adding something new to it to basically cover all the challenges. Also, map everything you have in terms of technology with the customer journey and your internal processes. Is your sales part of any of the technologies you're using? If not, let's do that. Technology can definitely automate part of your day-to-day activities, repetitive tasks, as Alex mentioned, emails, nurturing. So do that. It's going to save a lot of time and money in the end. And of course, if we're doing all this integration and synchronization, everyone will have access to what they need, when they need, in one place. The information, the data will flow from one side to another, so it's going to be extremely simple for everyone to be up to date with the latest reports.
Mm-hmm. Very good insights, Monica. And moving further to our next topic on the agenda, which is my favorite and a lot of people's favorite. It's about money and budgets. There was a lot of talk at the end of 2022, at the beginning of 2023, about what's happening with the budgets, related to this uncertain economy and the fact that people are cutting their marketing budgets and so on. So Monica, what have you found in reality? What's happening, and especially what's happening with the remaining budget? What channels do you believe will see the most investment in 2023, and why?
I have some good news actually for marketers. The investments in most cases will remain the same. As you see here on the screen, this is how the budgets will look like in 2023, and this is a comparison with last year. So they're actually getting higher in a lot of situations. They're not lowered. So only 7% of the companies mentioned that they will lower, and 18% slightly lower their budgets. So it's not that bad actually. We're keeping the same budgets in most cases because marketing is what drives and what's helping the sales department. Everyone works together here. It's not only sales and marketing. No, it's marketing plus sales. So if they don't work together, the business doesn't work. Now, in terms of where the budget is going, that's also something very interesting that I discovered on one of the Gartner's reports. Here is the split for most of the companies. Advertising, paid advertising is one of the the areas where companies invest the biggest budgets. We have, of course, then partnerships, affiliates, influencer marketing maybe here as well. We have SEO, email marketing, and content as well as main areas of investments. And I'm happy to see this increase in 2021. The budget was slightly lower than it is right now. And of course, I see organic social. So things are, I think they're balanced between different channels and tactics that the companies are using. Now, how should companies allocate their budgets based on industry? These are some averages, some percentages actually provided by HubSpot. So this is how much of the company revenue anyone should invest based on a specific industry. So for example, technology, service consumption, 21% of the revenue. That's a lot, but that means they need a lot of a lot of touches to get someone to buy the services and the products. And it's normal. A service or a technology product is a bigger investment, so you need to be convinced in the end that this is the right choice.
Yeah, and just to quickly add something up, I think we also all need to take this with like a grain of salt. So these are, general figures we see from Gartner, from averages, but things really vary from company to company. And I saw this with some of our customers. It really depends on your strategy, on your industry, on how much investment you have, and so on. And I saw some startups who allocate even more than that percentage just to get going and to keep the momentum, but also well-established companies who are really below these rates. So, these are just some orientative figures, but everybody should keep in mind their own, growth objectives and available budgets.
Exactly, Juana. These are some averages, but that's up to any company. If they don't have a bigger budget, that's fine. Let's focus on what's on the channels that are the most relevant, and then see what else we can add based on the budget we have. Now, what I think should, drive us and how to set up our budget, besides the industry averages and besides what we mentioned before, there are a few questions we need to address before establishing a budget. And I've included here on the slide a few main items. We need to start from the pain points that our team is experiencing. So based on that, we need to see if we have to increase maybe the technology stack, and basically parts of our marketing budget will be directed there. We need to identify what part of our activities is manual, so we can identify automation opportunities. We need to see if we're taking advantage of the current technology stack. We need to see if we are paying something that we're not using. So these are a few items in my perspective that are extremely important before setting up the budget and, signing the papers and everything. And at the same time, I need to mention as well that one of the trends, and a lot of people are talking about that, is the investment in marketing as something efficient. So we need to identify the areas of marketing that are the most efficient for a business. I've included again here on the slide 2 areas that I believe can bring efficiency to any theme. And that's, of course, automation. You should definitely have some type of marketing automation tool to reduce the manual work, with the messaging, with the nurturing, with the scoring, and so on, and of course the integration part. It's a time saver, a lifesaver, and it's making everyone's work a lot easier.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Monica. And Alex, I know HubSpot talks a lot about ROI. So from your perspective, how can companies actually measure the ROI of their marketing efforts across various channels?
Yeah, I think a concept that we talk a lot about is, when you really think about your full buyer's journey, especially in the B2B space where we know that like deal cycles can be quite long sometimes. And therefore, there are a lot of different touch points along the way. So really having a multi-touch attribution mindset is important. There are a lot of different models, if you will, about like how to assess where your marketing efforts are having an impact on the buyer's journey. And so, obviously HubSpot has tools to help with this, but there are, whatever tools you're using, it's important to take that sort of holistic view, right? I think, not to oversimplify it, but some people often think about, the importance of the first touch or the last touch, right? Like, what was it that got them into our funnel? What was that piece of content that first got them on our website, or that piece of, advertising that first got them to convert on an offer that we have, versus, what was the last thing they did before they became a buyer? And those are sort of like the bookends of the buyer's journey, but there's a lot that can happen in the middle. And so I think having a holistic perspective that understands, what are all of the different channels that they're engaging with. Again, with longer cycles, folks might be coming back to the site weeks or even months later through a different channel to try to gather more information on their own without talking to a person on the phone or on the other end of email. So understanding the importance of chat as well as social interactions. I think that's another interesting trend that we might see some more. Sometimes we think of it more as sort of the B2C world, but in the B2B world, people leveraging social channels for almost like a support operation, right? To find out more information, to self-serve, because there's a lot of, deal scrutiny and increased pressure to make the right decision. So people are going to sort of lengthen that cycle, have more and more diverse touch points along the way. So the more that we can think about like what are all of the different factors that contribute to this buyer's journey, and make sure that we give weight to those different pieces. I think especially as marketers, we want to make sure that we're getting credit for the work that we're doing that contributes to the revenue that comes through the door, right? And especially at a time of great scrutiny, people are feeling like they're having to fight for their budgets. So being able to look at the full picture of ROI and not just say, this was the article that they read that got them in the door, but what happened over the next 3 weeks or 3 months even beyond that? So making sure to step back and look at the big picture, I think, is going to be really important this year.
Mm-hmm. Very, very good point, Alex. And before we move on to the next topic, I just wanted to, take a little break. And I know many of the people who are today here in the audience are marketing managers, but not just you guys, everybody here. I am asking you to quickly write in the chat window, what is your greatest challenge at the moment? Professionally speaking, or from the company standpoint, what is your main challenge at the moment? Let's see, marketers, what are you dealing with these days? Who would like to share? So I'm guessing either none of you have any challenges, or they're so complex that you are just, writing and writing. Loredana, figuring out how to integrate AI in all aspects of business. That's a nice one. Who else? Well, maybe Edward. everything is challenging in a way or another. When you are at the beginning, I totally agree to that, especially because this is an ever-changing industry. So most probably next year, you'll have some other challenges to deal with. Targeting the right audience on Google Ads, B2B is challenging, yeah. And now we're going to tap into this topic a bit later in Monica's presentation. Okay, thank you all for sharing. So Monica, what do the trends tell us? What are the top challenges the marketing managers face this year?
Not too far from what our audience mentioned on the chat. I've extracted 5 this time as well. Of course, there are plenty of challenges, and we all know about them. It's a never-ending cycle sometimes. That's how we feel it. But here are my top challenges, and that's also what the studies tell us. The first one is keeping up with the latest trends. Everything is changing. Each year, a new platforms appear. So let's look at TikTok, which was a platform that everyone avoided 2 years ago. It's now one of the most trending tools to use for marketing. And it's a struggle sometimes for a lot of marketers to keep up with what's going on the market, on this landscape. So that's the top challenge everyone mentioned in the studies, keeping up with what's going on. What we can do here is, stay informed or try to stay informed and try to apply them in our industry. But of course, not everything that flies can be consumed or can be applied in our business. So we need to kind of analyze, of course, is this going to work for me? Is this what our customers are using in terms of platform? Because if not, it doesn't work spending a lot of effort on it. So that's how we can keep up. Some of the trends won't apply, so we just remove them from our attention, and we focus on those that are actually valuable. The second item and the second challenge marketers mentioned is that this year they need to do more with less. Of course, with all the layoffs that happened around the world, this was kind of expected in some way. So in some cases, also companies choose to close the collaborations with agencies and absorb in-house some of the activities they were doing previously as outsourced activities. So this is a big challenge for some businesses. Now here as well, my suggestion that I gave earlier with automation will definitely apply. Doing more with less is something we can do with automation. We can automate part of our daily manual tasks and focus on those that are, more creative, need some kind of human interaction and human attention. The third one that I added here is changing consumer behavior. And Alex also mentioned something about that. Things are evolving, and not only the marketing landscape is evolving, also how consumers act and what they are doing is different. So now we need to kind of pay attention to our data in the end. And Alex, you mentioned something very valuable before. Your data is telling a lot about your marketing, the quality of your data. So look at what you have, look at what your customers are consuming in terms of information, what they are looking for, and adjust your communication. Otherwise, you won't be up to date and you won't respond. You won't anticipate the questions they will ask to you. The next two is measuring effectiveness. This as well is connected to what Alex and Juana were discussing before about measuring ROI. Which is a constant challenge for marketers. Of course, we need to know exactly what our activities brought in terms of sales and results, actual result, revenue. So having a way to do that is extremely important. How we can solve this type of challenge? Well, of course, we need to try to bridge this communication between marketing and sales, have everything integrated, have all the data condensed in one platform, and that will allow us to have a better visibility and know exactly the attribution between marketing activities, channels, and revenue. That's how things are going to work. And of course, the last one that I added here is dealing with concerned buyers. We are seeing that a lot lately. People that are more concerned about investing or reserved in doing an investment. And this is again something we need to change in terms of our communication style. We need to focus on the benefits more and not on the technical functionality of something, or how amazing we are. No, how amazing you will be once you work with us, for example. And try to come with information that is going to help the customer, not features, functionalities. They don't care about that. They care about how their business will benefit. And here we need, of course, to take into account a bit of emotion as well. So be creative here and start basically breaking all these concerns.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the last one is really interesting because, and we've heard this lately, the fact that we are dealing with the more economic buyer this year. People are really careful and really cautious when investing their money on services or products. And there's another aspect here, more cultural one, the fact that the millennials are now the decision makers in most of the companies. And this is a generation, and these are people who like to really take control on their decision making and also get very, very informed and have their own research and so on. So this is definitely one trend we should keep an eye on. And because you've mentioned the bridge between marketing and sales, I'm now moving on to Daniel Bird. Daniel, I know you are interacting a lot with prospects, especially in North America. So I was curious, can you share with us what are some of the top challenges you see in that area? Anything specific or anything you can add on top of what Monica just mentioned?
Yeah, and I think what I'll mention today actually covers a lot of what Monica mentioned. I think the biggest two that I see is cobbled systems for a lot of companies. So I think Yamini, our CEO, mentioned this at Inbound. The average company uses somewhere around 26 systems when operating their day-to-day. So what I see a lot of times is the systems that they're using aren't flexible. We're not able to measure the buyer's journey and the ROI, or I see that they're not really usable for the people that need to use them. So a lot of times that's when customers are either coming to HubSpot or a more all-in-one type solution in order to eliminate some of that fatigue, multiple logins. And the second, I think, is the most key, is marketing being siloed or siloing of departments. What I mean by that is marketing kind of operating on their own. Who's ever gone into a meeting with the CRO of their company on a bad sales month? And they're like, why are we having such a bad sales month? And then you as a marketer can't say, well, I had all these qualified leads that came in. We don't understand after they converted what happened. So with that marketing sales alignment, it's important for all of our departments. It's not just marketing, sales, it's marketing and sales. And we can eliminate some of those tough conversations. Like, you did your job amazing, but what happened when they got to the salesperson? Is it the problem with the sales team? So I would say the cobbled systems and then that alignment piece. And then finally, we mentioned a lot about the economy. Times are tough with people with investments. I think it's important to share content with our customers about what they're saving, not only with money, but also maybe time, right? There's different costs of doing business besides just money. So, hey, it's going to take me longer to do X. We solve for that. Or it's going to cost me more manpower to do X. So focusing on some of those other costs of doing business rather than, hey, we're going to save you money on a piece of product. So I think that's really key and something to think about as you're speaking with customers during these tough times.
Thank you, Daniel. And since we are at, this marketing automation topic, let's dig into it a bit more. Monica, what are some specific trends around automation we are seeing for this year?
This is actually my favorite part.
I know that.
But yeah, I think we covered a lot of the items previously in the conversation. Alex also mentioned a few points, but once again, I will repeat, data quality will be key this year to drive your business and all the automation initiatives. And I'm seeing a lot of customers that are coming to us, I don't have a very good database and everything is definitely cluttered, and it's overwhelming when we start at the beginning to clean up and organize. But once they are done with that part, we have processes, we have nurturing flows, we have things that are working on their own without their involvement, which is excellent. They are basically nurturing leads without a click, and that's definitely something any company should focus. So again, automated lead capture and nurturing is definitely connected to the data quality. This part will help you also with the personalization, which is the third point in my list. And that's because depending on someone's behavior that you're tracking on the website via email and so on, you can send again a more personalized information. They visited a specific service page, okay, let's send them more information about that specific service, not all the services. And this is definitely something nice. I mean, I, as a consumer myself, I want to receive exactly what I want to buy, not everything that you have on the website. It saves me a lot of time as a consumer. So we need to pay attention to that aspect as well. We need to help our prospects save time when making decisions. And here is where the automation and the personalization will work very well. Next on my list, I've included the pipeline forecasting and predictive lead scoring. Of course, everything, as you can see, is connected, but with the pipeline forecasting, we can see exactly what are the opportunities that are the most likely to close. So, okay, we know that we have 5 deals that have a 80% likelihood of closing positively. That's fine. Let's make everything that we can to do this closing. But at the same time, the system can also inform us that, you have 3 deals that are dormant for 3 months and they haven't responded and so on. So that's also fine. Not everyone needs to convert instantly, but at least we know that we can enroll them into a nurturing flow. Maybe they're not ready now to be converted and to buy. Okay, let's give them more information. Let's nurture them one more time and see what's going on. And if nothing is going to happen positively, that's fine. We can move on. But this pipeline forecasting is what will indicate this likelihood. And of course, the predictive lead scoring based on different behaviors is going to do magic in terms of segmentation and personalization. Now, the next item with the chatbots automation is extremely interesting, and I was quite surprised when I found that statistics online. More than half of people would like to interact with the chat before interacting with a human, which is huge. I mean, if you think of that, half of our customers are going to write to us on the chat before starting a conversation with one of the consultants. And that's a lot. I mean, it's extremely important to have this tool integrated in and optimized into our business, so we don't lose money in the end. If they want to use the chat, okay, we will be there. And the last point on my list is seamless omnichannel marketing, which is basically the integration and the centralization of everything. And of course, Daniel and Alex mentioned as well about this fact. Ideally, you would have everything in one place and have all the integrations, all the channels connected to one system. And this is going to allow you to see everything that's going on in terms of marketing and sales as well, and potentially service if you have also this customer service part. And it's going to be amazing. Marketing team can be inspired by the service team, what they are, discussing with the current customers. Sales team can be as well inspired, so they can, proactively answer some questions in the nurturing, the sales nurturing. So if everything is connected, that's going to work magic for any business.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Monica. It's the chatbot, figure. It's quite funny. My take on this is there are many introverts out there. I'm one of them, but also Greg here in the chat window says that he wonders if people actually know the chatbot is not human when interacting, because AI has evolved so much that sometimes you just cannot figure it out.
You kind of get when something is automating. I mean, depending on how fast you're receiving the answer, kind of differentiate the human from the robot. But yeah, I think the fact that they don't have to actually speak with a human being or to see a human being directly, that's extremely important for them. And probably the decision to talk or not to talk with the consultant is based on the answers you provide on the chat.
Absolutely. Thank you, Monica. Now, Alex, from automation technology point of view, what do you see are, some key new functionalities customers are requesting, or what does HubSpot have prepared for us in this year? I know there's a lot of talk about integrating AI, but what can you share from, HubSpot's kitchen?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll say since inbound in September, we've definitely seen a couple small updates. One of the things I love about HubSpot's product team is they're really focused on iterative improvements. So there's like little things happening all the time. So even just thinking back over the last year or so, there are certain things that we can do with workflows now that we didn't used to be able to do. One example that may seem simple, but it can actually be incredibly helpful in terms of keeping your CRM clean, and is the ability to delete a contact as an action. So if you have a specific criteria, I think sometimes disqualifying leads is just as important as qualifying them. And if you find out that you have a junk lead that is not going to be a good use of anyone's time, go ahead and delete it before it starts creating clutter in the corner of your CRM. More improvements that we're seeing as well for folks that are leveraging our Operations Hub tools is the ability to create just sort of custom coded actions that, similar to AI, kind of anything that you can imagine allow you to do whatever you want. So really going beyond just the standard expected automations we've come to know and love, but wherever we find really creative use cases, especially if you have a developer who can help you with some JavaScript or some Python coding, there's some really incredible things that we can do. And I think lastly, one thing that HubSpot will definitely continue to do is while we will improve our own tools, and definitely, there's some things that, I can't necessarily reveal yet, but I think are worth getting excited about over the next few months, are what our workflows can do with the integrations that you have with HubSpot. So really important tools that are critical to your marketing and sales functions that you can leverage inside of HubSpot. So whether that's your SMS platform or your calling system, or a tool that you might be using for quoting and contracts, especially where time to value is incredibly important, thinking about the triggers that we are getting from other systems and using that to kick off further internal automation inside of HubSpot. So, the workflows tool is the heartbeat of the HubSpot platform, and we will definitely see more iterative improvements on that in the near future.
Great insights, Alex. So since Monica already put the Q&A slide on the screen and we have about 10 minutes to go, but we're glad to stay after hours if you'd like to chat with us more. I would like to ask all of you, Monica, Alex, and Daniel, what is your final piece of practical advice for our audience today for this year? And specifically, if you have perhaps some case studies or a clear example of somebody who does it well in marketing for this year. Monica, what do you think?
I will say automation. And that's my expertise area, and definitely this can do a lot of good things to any business. And to give an example, only by automating your pipeline, you can get a lot of increases. Only by having the system sending you notifications about what is going on in your pipeline, how are the deals progressing into the deal stages. Only this can help you keep up with the deals and be proactively involved in nurturing them. So I've seen a lot of cases in our projects and customers portals that only by doing that, adding a few tasks here and there in different stages of the pipeline, their close rate started to increase significantly. And that's because, of course, we are human. We forget things, and that's normal. But if we have a system to remind us constantly about what we need to do, when we need to do that, our likelihood to close the deals positively is definitely increasing.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Monica. Alex, what is your take on this?
Yeah, I think I think of a few case studies that I've been reading recently, and I think a common theme that has come through is really about challenging our assumptions about our buyers and our personas specifically. I think in the 5+ years I've been working at HubSpot, there are a lot of familiar themes and things we talked about today in terms of just the importance of inbound marketing and understanding the buyer's persona. But I think it's especially important when we're trying to find efficiency and make sure that we're spending our money and our time, to Daniel's point, wisely, is to confront our assumptions. And so really understanding the buyer's journey, asking ourselves, when was the last time we really asked our customers if this still makes sense? I was talking to a customer a couple of weeks ago, and they were really agonizing over a big decision about, sort of changing their go-to-market for a new product they were launching. And there was some real dispute amongst the stakeholders on the call. There was a pretty split opinion about, do we zig or do we zag? Does it make sense to keep doing it this way? This is a high risk move to change our go-to-market here. What should we do? And my question for them, which wasn't necessarily an answer, but more so a way for them to figure out an answer, which was, have you asked your customers? And I think it sounds silly, but it's so true. I think we often forget that they are one of the best places to find insight about your business is the people that are already doing business with you. And I think sometimes there's a hesitancy to ask them for their opinion on things because we don't want to ask too much of them. We don't want to rock the boat. They're already paying us, but I think a lot of the times you'll find your customers are more than happy to give you their opinion, whether they're happy or things could be better. And they're really an incredible source of insight. So the folks that I have found that really take that to heart, whether it's, one-to-one conversations with your top customers, leveraging surveys, giving opportunities for NPS feedback, just talking to your customers is one of the best ways to understand your future customers and confront those assumptions that we have.
Thank you so much for this, Alex. This is great advice, and I don't think we talk enough about it. And this is, just finishes the wheel. We've talked about marketing, sales alignment, but we often forget that we also have operations and client service. And the people in that department who interact on a daily basis with the customer can gather really valuable information for us as marketers. So make sure you use that, like Alex said. Daniel, what is your final piece of practical advice? If Daniel is still here, but I think he got disconnected. Anyway, we'll ask him when he gets back. In the meantime, if you have any questions for the speakers, you can put them in the chat window, or feel free to come off mute and ask, or if there's anything you would like to add from your perspective, your company's point of view, we are now open to discussions. I know we also have, Monica, we have also received some questions from people who registered in the form. Maybe we can start with those until people get the courage to ask. Okay, so this is a long one. We have seen a wave of digitalization starting 2020. This prompts me to think about the following question. Is digital marketing a good fit for everybody? Should we go digital just for the sake of checking a box, or we should rather stick to a tailored approach for our needs and capabilities? This is a great question. So let's see, Monica, do you want to share your thoughts about this?
Yes. My short answer would be yes, digital marketing is for everyone. And I believe everyone, should have a website, should do some type of promotion online and so on, but not at the same level. I mean, we can have a business that invests 90% of their budget in digital marketing because that's where the customers are. And we can also have a company that only invests 10%, and that's totally fine. And that's based on where we find our audience, what's relevant for our customers. And as Alex mentioned, we need to ask them in the end. And based on their answers, we will decide how much we're investing in digital marketing and how many channels we're going to use and tactics and so on. But yeah, anyone, I mean, even if your customers, even if you're a transportation business, because transportation was one of the industries with the lowest marketing budgets, and you can promote yourselves outdoors because that's where your customers are basically, you still need to have a website. What if someone, searches on Google your business? They need to be able to find you somehow and identify some basic information at least about yourself.
Absolutely. So just to summarize, I guess it all comes down to, are your customers online, or can you get through digital marketing to them? So always start with the customer in mind whenever you have this sort of a question. Okay, what other questions did we receive, Monica? What are the top 3 marketing automations you recommend for healthy growth? Well, Monica, this is still your favorite subject, so.
Yes, it is, of course. I think I covered some of the items already in the presentation when I discussed about the trends and the marketing automation trends, but let's sum up a bit. I think the nurturing part is definitely something any business can use to grow healthy and steadily in the end, because it's going to constantly bring results to you. without a lot of effort. So this is definitely one of the 3 points: lead nurturing and lead generation as well. Lead generation can be done through marketing automation. Then I would say as well the email marketing, because that's a tool and that's an activity integrated into nurturing and lead generation in the end. So these two are kind of connected. You are using emails as a tool to nurture. So you cannot do one without the other in the end. So using these two, at least it's going to give you some good results. And the third one would be the social media management, which as well can be automated in one of these type of tools. So just to give you an example, if you're publishing content on the website, on your blog, this can be automatically shared on your social accounts. Instead of investing 10 minutes into creating the content and creating the image and so on, this can be shared automatically. So you save 10 minutes of your time that you can use for something that's more important. So that's my take here. These are the three items that I would do right now to grow a business healthy.
Thank you, Monica. And I'm going to pause a bit because we have an interesting question in the chat window. Somebody says, I work with startups starting from a point of no marketing in place. What would you recommend as the initial tools to implement to get the biggest ROI? Okay, so Alex, I see you've already touched a bit on the topic, but would you like to elaborate a bit more? I know HubSpot has some specific support for startups.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll say, like there are a few programs that we have sort of depending on where you are in your startup journey, what series, what kind of funding, what sort of, venture groups you might be working with. So there are various levels of discounts that you can earn as a startup's customer, up to 90% for the first year. But even if these startups don't necessarily qualify for those official programs, I mean, even just HubSpot's starter level tools and our free tools in some cases do allow you to, I think they're aptly named, to allow you to get started, right? So the idea with the starter tools is that you won't have to use them forever, but they're better than nothing, and a lot better than nothing, in my opinion. So, I mean, we talked a lot about automation today. There's even like what we call like simple automation at the starter level that allows you to, generate emails based up on how people are interacting with your existing emails, follow up with form submissions, automate task assignment based on how deals are moving through your pipeline. So it really helps you, especially at the startup and scale up phase where efficiency is so critical. So I think starting with the starter tools is never a bad way to go, but even with, our startups programs, you might be able to get up to our pro or enterprise products with up to a 90% discount. So definitely worth checking out and reaching out.
Yeah, absolutely. And like we always say here at NNC, anything is better than an Excel spreadsheet. So HubSpot, even the free version, is just great, you guys. And I think this actually relates quite well to, I think, the third question we received, Monica, which was really around use cases of automation for HubSpot Starter. Alex has already mentioned a few, but maybe Monica, you can share a bit more about what are the options there.
So I'm going to search and send you all the list of functionalities also for the free tools, because you can do a lot even with the free area of HubSpot. The CRM is almost entirely functional, so you can do almost anything that you would do with a paid license. Of course, there are some areas that I would know about that I use as an, HubSpot admin that are a bit more complex and that are only available for the paid options. But trust me, you have plenty of options to do your work with the free tools. So CRM is will definitely be available in the starter kit, and you can do that to centralize your database, keep on track with the leads, prospects, And also you can use the deals area in HubSpot, which is as well a free tool. And with the starter, you can have a bit more functionality, and you can automate, as Alex mentioned, the task assignments when a deal is moved from one stage to another. You can maybe add an automated email when a form is submitted. So these kind of items can be done with a starter tool. Now, as well, what's also nice to have, and the starter packages include that, are the segments and the lists. You have the option to create, of course, in a limited manner, active lists that you can use in your campaign. So based on specific filters you have in your database, or based on specific behaviors, you can actively add new contacts to a segment and, of course, nurture them or enroll them into a type of communication that you previously defined. And speaking of automation, I said about the form automation. Of course, there are some limited options there, but it's still good to send some type of messaging to those that submit the form on your website, or reach out to you. And I think also the starter includes some chatbots functionalities. Since we mentioned during our conversation about chatbots, you can activate one for the website, and it's definitely going to be a nice tool to have on the website to collect questions and also contact information. The chat will definitely help you to do that.
Okay, guys, and you can always connect with Monica on LinkedIn. She's always happy to support with answers. Make sure you register to our newsletter and also follow our social media channels for more advice. And since we are already after hours and I don't see that many questions in the chat window, but feel free to send it by email or on LinkedIn to us. I know, Monica, we have a virtual gift bag for everybody, which is a surprise from our partners here at HubSpot. Daniel here is not present. He has some technical issues, but we have his approval to share this with you. So all you guys who are here today, you are eligible for an exclusive discount for any HubSpot software. So don't miss this. Make sure you get in touch with my colleague Daniel or Monica. Daniel, please put in the chat window your email address or your LinkedIn profile, and we'll be glad to support you to use this at its maximum. So thank you everybody for being here. We will let you continue with your morning in the US and evening here in Europe. Stay close. We are preparing some other events soon, and feel free to reach out to us whenever you need answers or just a quick piece of advice related to automation, but to marketing in general. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Monica and Alex.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, NNC. Great job.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
And thank you to everybody attending. Thank you for giving us the gift of time.